Hi, I'm Christian.
And I'm Angela, and we are married
And bored. Hey, everybody. We want to welcome you to another episode of the Married and Bored podcast.
Hi.
We hope your October is going well.
We're nearing Halloween.
It is nearing Halloween. And in Arizona, that means it's still really hot.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's finally getting maybe bearable in the mornings and evenings.
Yeah, I think we dipped below 80 once.
Oh my goodness.
It's pretty bad.
Everybody feels sorry for us.
Well, enough of this chit chat, Angela.
Yes.
We have a special show today. A few weeks ago, we were contacted through the internet, Instagram. It's a cool app.
Yes.
From another podcast called Until Dice Do Us Part, wondering if we wanted to hang out.
Do a little collaboration.
Yeah, so I think we mentioned it in our last show. We played Board Game Arena with them,
Yes.
Castles of Burgundy. But they are here right now, so welcome,
Welcome.
Seth and Jessie.
Hey guys,
Hi.
we're so happy to be here. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for having us. Yeah,
Of course. I don't. Where do we start?
You gotta tell the people where you're joining us from.
Yeah.
And what Until Dice Do Us Part is.
Yeah, fill us in.
Sure. So through the magic of the internet, we're actually calling from the upper Midwest here.
Yes, and it's been below 80 for a while.
It's been below 80 for quite some time. So
It is.
we're actually calling. We're based in South Dakota, and that's where our podcast, of course, is based out of. My name's Seth,
And I'm Jessie.
and we host a semi-weekly. Does that mean more than one time a week? Semi.
You know, I can never remember what it is.
It's bi-weekly, twice a week,
I don't
or
know.
once every other.
Bicycle has
Right.
2 wheels. It's not a semi.
We're going to say it's a fortnightly.
I don't know.
Fortnightly. There
Yes.
you go.
Fortnightly
Way to be
podcast.
fancy with
I
your
just-
words.
I had to look that up after our daughter was playing that game. I was like, oh, look at that. That doesn't make any sense. Anyway, we did the same type of thing. We play board games. We love playing board games up here, and we've enjoyed talking about them, offline, and enjoyed the hobby. And we said, you know what a cool thing to do together is sit down and talk about board games. And that's how it started a while ago. And we reached out to you guys because it just seemed like a really good mashup. Like you guys enjoy a lot of the games that we do. It sounds like you have fun family stories like we do. And we thought, what a cool group to just call up and see if we could do a show together and play some games together. So thank you for having us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome. We are happy to have you here. In this part of the show, Angela and I usually talk about, like what we've been doing in the board game world, or tell a little bit of board game news that's been happening. So why don't you guys kind of fill us in on maybe what you guys have been playing recently, and we'll do the same. And then if you we all know that there are seasons of board games where you might not be able to play as much. If you haven't been playing lately, that's great. That's fine. Maybe what are a couple of your top favorite games?
No, we actually have an opportunity to play, and we've been playing kind of on the monster spooky theme.
Yes, we have.
We played Cryptid Cafe,
Cryptid Cafe, yep.
and that was a cutesy, fun game. And Campy Creatures.
Yep, that's a take that card game with a really cool art theme.
Yep.
I think that's by the same artist from Parks. So you guys kind of get the quality of, the quality of art for it.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Key
And
Master,
then we played
Horrified,
the new American Monsters.
the American monster versions. We fought off the Badland of the Banshee or Banshee of
Because,
the
it's
Badland.
kind of, we're here and we never heard of it until we opened that game. And then we're like, oh, we have a Banshee. We didn't know that.
Oh, is that like a local legend up there?
Apparently.
Or supposedly.
Yes,
it was
supposedly
it
it's a
was-
Badland Banshee. And we're like, there is?
It was a local legend I had to look up on Wikipedia.
Yeah, so it's died out for sure. It's not like Bigfoot or Chupacabra. Like, no, everyone seems to know those.
Yep.
I gotta ask, how do you feel about that versus the original?
It's same game, new skin.
Okay.
But it has the same enduring charm of the original. So the original was always fun to get to the table because it was a co-op. So if you had a lot of people that had never played this hobby before, you play it in front of them and you're like, all right, here's the theme. We're all working together to beat monsters. And then people are like, so we don't play each other and fight like Monopoly. We're like, no, check this out, and you show them the game, and it is really well. So, does it add a whole lot to the franchise? I don't know, but it's still cool. I mean, it's still really enjoyable. So
Agree.
it's a
Yeah,
plus.
Okay, that's good.
Angela's a big fan of the original, and
Mhm.
we've always had our eye on the American.
Monsters.
Yeah, I won't say American version, but that's not it. um,
And I think the last one we played was we went to our very first con, and we sat down and played long shots, the dice game. So we
Oh,
were racing some
yes.
Oh,
horses
man.
at a convention.
Yep.
And that was a
did
ton
you
of fun.
enjoy that game?
I won twice, so yes.
Okay,
That is
yeah.
actually a lie. He won once.
Oh,
Oh, there's a debate.
I love it.
I love that.
So yeah, so
drama.
that's not true. I won the first time, but you know what? It's his story. It's cool. His fish was also 8 feet long. So
That's-
Yes.
We need
What
an
have you-
instant replay.
exactly.
what have you guys been playing? What's been on your table?
Well, this comes to no surprise to any of our listeners, but X-Men Marvel Champions.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have been playing X-Men Marvel Champions. We're not through the whole new campaign yet, but Mutant Genesis, we will get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. It's tough.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Did you guys get to play your fan submission? How many times did they have to play through on that when you were building your own? What was that? Build your own adventure. What was that called? That was cool.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
Infinite Possibilities. I think I'm the solo player in the house, so I played through it solo. I would say probably like
4.
three or four times. Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun to do. I mean, obviously we didn't win. We weren't offered any jobs at Fantasy Flight because of it.
No, that's a shame.
But we had a lot of fun doing it. And after hearing like all the winners, we realized like, oh, we probably should have gone in that direction or made a little changes to the one that we created. But we had a lot of fun just building that and thinking in that space.
Yeah, thinking about it.
Yeah. Other than that, Angela, have we been playing too much?
A lot of Marvel remix.
Yeah, that's an easy one. Like, it's like a before bedtime game with the
Yep.
kids. Yeah.
I'm trying to think. We play Cat in the Box the other night.
That's right. We did play Cat in the Box. And then I had some friends over and we played Cosmic Encounter.
Yes.
And then the game took like 35 minutes. It was so fast. And we played Libertalia that night too. So I guess now that I'm talking about it, we played a lot.
Yeah, we have
since
played
we've
a lot.
last recorded. But I wanted to ask you a question about the con that you just guys went to. We had chatted beforehand, and you said it was like a local con in your area. Can you just kind of explain like where you guys went and some highlights from that, maybe?
Sure. So in South Dakota, there's really only one official con. We have a lot of pickup game nights at libraries and pubs around, but this one's called SuperCon, and it's down in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and it is a collection of all things geekdom. Since there's not enough cons throughout the state to really parse out what elements of our nerd hobbies to take over, they all kind of converge on one spot. So one night they had a board game room, they had a Halo tournament, they had what else did they have? They had pro wrestling in one room.
Why wouldn't you have pro wrestling? I mean, come on.
And it was fun. It
Lots
was
of
a ton
comic
fun.
books. I mean, yeah, it was fun. They had like what's that game? Warhammer.
Warhammer, yes.
Yes,
that
they
game.
had that. That
Yes,
was a very
that
big
game.
thing tournament going on at one point.
Oh yeah. I mean, I went to Gen Con this past summer in Warhammer. Like I know people play that, but there are so many people who play that. It's crazy.
You are actually wearing a shirt right now.
Oh my gosh,
That
I
is a
am.
joke about Warhammer.
That's
It's
right.
funny.
Yeah.
The best thing about the con is that in South Dakota, we went into a public space where all the doors on the outside of the building say you can't bring firearms in just because that's fine. And then 2 feet later, it says, please check your cosplay guns also. So
Yeah.
like there was two different check. It was funny. It was fun. There was vendors and all kinds of good stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds fun.
Do you guys think this would be like a stepping stone to like a bigger con, like Gen Con or PAX Unplugged is in like 2 months, I just realized. I think that would be kind of fun to go to eventually. But have you guys thought about any of that?
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
stuff?
we really want to go to one. It's just figuring it out, right? kids and
Logistics.
family
Logistics,
and everything else.
logistics.
But yeah, we definitely want to go to a bigger one.
Yeah, totally. Totally. Well, it's October, like we said. So we
Mhm.
wanted to just talk about spooky games,
Yes.
one that Angela has wanted to talk about for quite some time,
Since the beginning.
since the beginning.
Yes.
And for some reason this game hasn't made it to like a full episode yet. I think
I know the reason.
what's the reason?
I feel like I just talked about it too much for your liking at the beginning.
It was mentioned quite a bit.
Yeah. Maybe like Marvel Snap is being mentioned these days.
Well, well, we will talk about that, but not right now. But we're talking about Mansions of Madness. And then on that topic, do you want to never mind. I was going to ask you if you want to talk about spooky games we've been playing, but we kind of already mentioned that.
Yeah, they mentioned
Cryptid Cafe.
Yeah, tell us about that. I don't know
Yeah.
if we're very familiar with that
Oh,
one.
I don't even remember who the artist is. It was a friend of ours that brought it over. But it's really
Okay.
cute. It's like, did you ever play the old app game like Diner Dash?
Oh,
You did something similar to
yeah, I
that,
did something similar.
Yep. So you're trying to do orders, and you have a certain amount of time before the monster walks out. And of course, it's really cute. It's
The
like,
cryptids, they got Bigfoot, and you've got
but like the orders are like it's apple cider, but it's
Oh.
actually apple.
the ingredients. Yes, they're knocks on real ingredients. It's like Eye of Newt or some types of
Yeah.
cider. I wish I had it in front of me, but it's just cute little well themed things. And as Jesse said, you flip cards. And over your turn, the main mechanic in the center is kind of a worker placement auction type of game. You put your worker, assign your worker into the middle, and that's going to give you the certain number of enter whatever ingredient that is. And there's some mechanics for moving your guys back and forth. But then you draw home all these mechanics and you try to assign them to your diners. And if you don't fill your diner's assignment, they slide one spot to the right, and if you keep sliding them in front of your board, eventually they walk out, and you get negative victory points. So you're trying to handle all of this resource management and worker placement at the same time. It's really a cute game.
It really is. It's a fun
cool.
game.
I would love that.
Yeah, it sounds like it can probably be played solo as well. Just from what I don't know for sure, but
I
think
think
there
you
is.
Like you would be
actually,
able
I think there is a solo, and we thought it would be
Yeah.
actually great with kids too. It's not very complicated.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And then that's another thing, obviously, we have in common that we've talked about is we game with our families. Do you guys have any favorite family games that just keep on coming back to the table?
We have two that always. We have two instant yeses that our kids will always say. One is Ghost Fight and Treasure Hunters, which we just did a show on. But that is it's a roll and move family game that you go. You go around trying to defeat ghosts. It's kind of like this pandemic kids like game, and it's impossible.
Yeah, it's very hard. Like we have to cheat with our children
I
all
would.
the time.
I would hate that so much.
I think I would too, because it would constantly be like Christian going, "That's okay. Why don't you just roll again?" And I'd be like, "No, because if we win, that's a false win."
It's
Yeah.
a D6 game for number of moves. So like my house rule is I go out and get a D12, and I'm just like, at least we're gonna move in this game because this is just
Yeah,
Yeah, let's get some movement going for
it's
sure.
definitely a hard game for sure.
And the other one we play that's usually instant yes is Zombie Kids Evolution. Oh,
Oh.
That's right. I think we talked about
Mhm.
that on our
When we
BGA
played
night.
BGA,
Yep.
yeah.
And
That's
that one's
right.
cute. It's got some stuffy little cards you open up, but it's super simple, as all real good legacy games are. You start with just a couple moves and a couple things to learn, and then as the game progresses, you get to mark stickers in your book, and your players get to level up, and you get to open packets and stuff. And the kids really like that game. And of course, it's cute. You're defending your grade school from zombies trying to pour in.
Yep.
Yeah, which is
That's so good.
every grade schooler's nightmare or fantasy. Who knows?
Right.
Yeah.
And then the last one he's forgetting about that our middle child absolutely loves. It's called a card game called No Thanks.
Oh,
Oh.
Yeah.
I wonder if I've heard of this one.
It's
What does the packaging look like?
it is a deck of cards and some buttons
or like little pebbles, black
tokens?
pebbles. It's really smaller. It's like
Okay.
it's a small box.
Okay.
But it's like 3 to 8 players or 7 players. So it can All of our people can play it. All of our people,
The whole
our
thing.
family.
All the peoples that live at this house. all the inmates around here can play it.
Right. And so the
Right.
objective is to have the lowest points and build upon your cards, but you actually take out cards. So not all the cards are going to be in there. And yeah, it's about bluffing. How many pebbles do you have left? You're not supposed to share. And it's just a fun game. And Lily, our daughter, always loves it.
It's also kind of a push the table where if I say I'm going to pass, she gets to stare at everybody else and like stare them down, be like, I dare you to pass.
Yeah.
Pass again.
Great.
What have you guys been playing? What's an instant win for your kids?
Yeah. I mean, Angela plays a lot with the kids, especially during their like fall breaks and Christmas breaks because I'm at work, but
I'd say an instant win, at least right now, is Marvel Remix. But
Remix,
really
yeah.
anything with the Marvel skin, like Marvel Splendor, 5 Minute Marvel, they'll play those pretty much guaranteed.
yeah.
Our son really likes push your luck games, so he'll play like Cubitos and Quacks with me, like Quacks of Quinlanburg. But our daughter doesn't like that as much, or at least doesn't like agreeing with her brother.
That's probably more it. Yeah. But she just bought with her own money the Disney Sorcerer Arena.
Yeah, Epic
Oh,
Alliance.
yeah.
Sorcerer's
That's the
Arena.
new box.
Yeah. So that's it's like it's based off the iOS game, the mobile game, which is kind of interesting. It's just kind of like a tactical battler. And she's actually having a pretty good time with it.
Yeah.
So that's what they've been doing recently for the last couple weeks. So nothing too
Thanks
wild,
for the
but they're having
insight.
fun.
We're taking notes while we're doing this. By the way, we're building our
Yep,
Christmas
exactly.
list while we're doing a podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, you just solved our son's birthday.
Yeah, exactly.
Right there with the zombie game.
Yep. Well, why don't we take a quick break, everyone, and we'll just jump into Mansions of Madness, and we'll just chat about
All right, we are back, and we are going to be talking for most of this podcast about Mansions of Madness, which is a game that I have mentioned from the beginning of our podcast journey. It is the game that I think got me really into modern board games, strategy games, and it's the closest I'll probably ever get to D&D. So, without further ado, I will describe the game and then we'll jump right in discussing it. So, Mansions of Madness is a cooperative, it's app-driven game for 1 to 5 players, and it's set in the world of H.P. Lovecraft. So, if you've heard of Arkham Horror or Eldritch Horror, that's what the art and world is. Players take on the role of investigators trying to solve some sort of mystery. It's not always a murder mystery, but you're going to encounter clues, items, puzzles, and maybe some monsters along the way.
It's almost a guarantee for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Angela and I are Mansions of Madness veterans. We know that you, Seth and Jessie, this is a newer game for you. Is that correct?
Yes, and I'll give you props. The discovery of this game actually started when we started listening to your podcast. So those early
There we go.
episodes, Fantasy Flight should send you some royalty money because I have bought so much of this game now, based
fair.
on Angela's professed love for it in the early episodes.
Yes.
It was for us. It was early on in our board game adventure. It was always just me buying stuff and Angela opening the box and being like, "What is this?"
I mean, I didn't scowl.
No, but like she wasn't as in. Like you just weren't as into it. Like I
Right.
was online searching for all the new hotness and like I found this one, and we're like co-op. Yeah, let's do it. App, let's do it. And it just really like you fell in love with it.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I love it.
It's still around.
So,
Yeah.
spoiler alert. That's where I'm coming from.
And the version of the game that we're talking about today is actually the second edition, which is the app driven game, which could come with a little bit of controversy, but we'll hit that later on.
Mhm.
So why don't we just jump into it? One thing that is important to us and important to you guys as well probably is ease of setup and teardown. There's not a lot of time to game after the kids go to bed or on
Yeah.
a weekend. You want to get it out and back in the box as soon as possible. Why don't Angela just start the conversation and then we can throw it to Seth and Jessie and see what their experience has been.
Well, I will say we haven't broken this out of its box in a while, but if you just pick up the box, it's it's got no illusion that it's probably going to have a lot going on. It's big box. I feel like it's not the worst game we have to set up, but I think it's maybe bordering on hard, tedious.
Tedious is a
What do
good
you guys think?
It was intimidating at first. I play a lot of D&D and Pathfinder, so like I opened the box and like the minis fell out and I just giggled. But my my wife kind of looked at it as I kept taking out minis and putting them on little stands and took out another mini and put it on. And like 10 minutes later, my wife was like, "Are we done setting up minis yet?" And I'm like, "Nah, they all need to
No?
face the same. They need to face the same direction." And then I'd rearrange them on the table. So it was a lot more ceremony than it was actually effective for me to get this set up on the table.
Yeah, it was really overwhelming at first. I was like, oh boy, here we go, here we go. But
Yeah. There's
Well,
a
Christian, you're
lot.
my spirit animal because that how you described setting those early games up with Angela is exactly like Jesse and I would have. As I would come home like with a twinkle in my eye, be like, "Look what I bought at the game store. You're gonna love this because this designer did this thing and this is the mechanic." And like there's a couple times that I almost had to help Jesse's head realign after she had rolled her eyes so hard at me. But Jesse, come on. Most of the time we got it. The nerd boys that are looking up on BGG, we do pretty good.
sure,
Oh, that's the most you're gonna get.
I just
Oh, that's all she's going to
no,
give
they
you.
have been really good. So
And Mansions was one of those. That's actually the segue. Is that when I started talking about this and reading it after you guys had talked about it, I was like, dude, we gotta try this. And I tried to convince her over coffee one morning. He's like, well, here's an app, and it's gonna be cool because there's minis and there's expansions. And it didn't really click until we actually got it. So for those of you listening, Mansions may be a first, an intimidating table setup, but stick with it. Stick with it.
Hmm.
Yeah, and yeah, definitely. And then I think that's a great segue to learning to play this game. I think for me personally, having the app helps immensely with it keeping track of everything. And you only get to do, correct me if I'm wrong, Angela, you get 2 actions every turn. That's not hard to like remember. Now, maybe remembering what they are, it can get confusing sometimes. Now, what can I do? Can I go here, touch that, pull that? But when you break it down into like the simplest turns, you're either moving or you're doing something, interacting with the world. So it's not terrible.
Right. I think this is actually a game, the only game with such an intimidating presence that we would actually put in front of people who don't game.
Yeah.
And we have.
And we have
Mhm.
definitely.
Oh, really? And that's funny because we're just nodding along here because we actually had somebody this weekend that this was their introduction. They had played this game, they had played Azul and Monopoly was their experience in board gaming. Tell us a little bit about who did you introduce this to? How'd that go?
So we played it with my boss.
Yep. And his wife.
And his wife.
And then we also played it at, this was a while ago because our son was just a baby. Your birthday, we had like a game night.
Yeah, that's true. But those guys, I mean, those are kind of work friends, so they're kind of more into like geeky
Sure.
D&D style stuff. But like my boss and his wife, they're not. And so we just had them over because they knew we were into the games. Everyone's like, "Oh yeah, we should come play a game sometime." And then we're always like, "Yeah, sure, but do you realize what you're getting yourselves into?"
Yeah.
Because it's not what you think. It's not the Monopoly or the Scrabble.
And they were even like, don't go easy on us. Like, give us a game that it's not a party game. Like, give us a game you would actually
Yeah, gamer's
play
game,
without
yeah.
us. And so we debated for a while, and then there's a lot of pressure.
You know, when your boss comes over and is like, "Impress me."
And well,
Yeah.
full points to you for defaulting towards a co-op game, by the way. So that's always we found that with new gamers is that's always something super intimidating and the co-op game or super intimidating to get into the hobby or play with somebody that you feel you're going to get stomped by. But the fact that it's co-op, I think that makes it 100% more approachable. But like it just takes the pressure out of them. Like we look at each other and say, we're either going to win together or lose together, but we're going to have a ton of fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you guys, I mean, you're not new to games, obviously, but how did you feel your first time through this? Was it a slog trying to learn it?
Yeah, was the app confusing? Did everything kind of or did it just click with like D&D history that I feel like that kind of like goes hand in hand with this game, or like Jesse, who's maybe not as into it, how did it work?
I'll let Jesse comment because the people that I got to play it on the first time was my wife, my business partner who is in my D&D group, and one of the other people that work with us who is part of our D&D group. So we came a little tabletop RPG heavy, but I'll let Jesse describe the first experience.
It was actually really well. I thought the app went really well with the board game, and that was actually my thing that I was most nervous about, because I'm like, app and then a board game. Is it all going to be appy? Why do you need a board game? But
Right.
they did it so well.
Yeah.
That it's like amazing. And I don't know, I thought it played really well, and it flowed great, and they all lost. I went, not spoilers, but I went insane, and I had a different objective, and I won. So
Oh, that's the insane.
Wow,
That's
look at
great.
that.
yeah, so I was like, cool, I won. You guys lost.
I don't
Great
know
game.
if I've ever won a game as going insane.
No, is it because we're so good?
No,
Oh, no.
I'm not good at games. They've experienced this with Castles of Burgundy.
Yeah.
No, it was because the condition was if they lost, I won. So I was like,
Oh.
well, and they
Oh,
lost,
nice.
so I won. I was
Easy
like, sorry
peasy.
guys.
Perfect.
So were you, Jesse, secretly like tanking them, like making poor, in quotes, decisions to like make sure they lost?
No, we did that pretty well for ourselves.
That's true.
Yeah.
First time through, so I was just trying to be like, no, you can trust me.
So
Right.
did you guys do the first scenario where you're like you have to like go to the backyard and find the portal
Yeah.
and
Didn't get
Yes.
that far.
yeah.
Didn't get that far in
Okay.
the first one, but we played it again because as soon as we played it, Jesse's like, "We're gonna play this again.
Yeah.
this is not. Don't even put this away. We're playing this the next day." And we did. And we
Yeah.
did.
Oh, yay.
That's
Okay.
that's great. See, what I liked, why we started this podcast is talking about games, and now we're talking about a game that Angela and I haven't played in quite a while,
Mhm.
and I'm just like, we need to play this like
Yes.
tonight,
Yeah.
just because everyone's excited about it, and
I
it's
know.
just fun. I wanted to go back a step and talk about setup and teardown. Now, this game does have one of my many pet peeves, or one of my main pet peeves for board games.
Ooh, I see if Seth or Jesse can guess
Ooh.
what your pet peeve is
One of my pet peeves.
related to setup and tear down.
Yeah.
Not enough box sortment. Like there's no
That's-
built inserts for us to know where things go.
Yeah, that's classic FFG for sure.
Here's a bag of stuff.
Great.
Yep, and then also cardboard that is shaped like a U.
Yes.
Mhm.
Is that your
No,
pet
mine
peeve?
is-
No, I didn't get it. Oh, okay.
Well, that's more Angela's. She's the organizer.
I think that's one of yours. Like, just throw everything in a box.
Oh yeah, like CG. What is it? Check games.
Yes.
They literally throw everything in a box,
Yep.
and it's just ridiculous. But I hate little cards
Oh,
so much.
the
Oh,
little
gotcha.
Euro tiny quarter cards or whatever they are.
Yes, and they're in this game. I get it. There's so many of them with all of the items that you have to pick up and all like the books and all that stuff, and it, and then like putting the game away. If you don't put them back in like alphabetical order or some sort of system, like you're just gonna be way screwed the next time you
Yep.
play.
Yep.
Yeah, it is
Because
definitely.
we've done it both ways.
And then, as you said, like as you add expansions, it just gets worse.
Mm.
Mhm.
And so, one of the things that we've done to combat setup and teardown for this one is really early on, where I worked, we had a 3D printer, and I
Ah.
found some like 3D printable storage options for this, for like tokens and stuff. So I did that, and that worked great until we started adding, expansions that didn't exist yet. And I'm not a 3D artist, so I'm like not gonna make my own storage options, but that did help quite a bit.
Do you guys feel like there's a need for that in this game?
Yes.
Well, yes, already, but we already have 2 expansions literally in the mail right now. So stay tuned on Instagram, and I'll post over how I try to fit all of it in one box.
Oh yeah, it's
We need to know.
Yeah,
Give us-
we'll take a picture of ours and then just send
Yeah.
it back.
We'll show you ours.
Yeah,
if
there you go.
show us yours.
Though there is one thing that made me semi-intimidated by this hobby. At the con we went to, one of the gals that was playing in one of the game rooms at the stores had like a crate with all the expansions that was one of the like the printed balsa wood crates, and it was probably 2.5 foot tall by at least a foot on either side with all of the sorted stuff.
Oh,
And she's like, I've got all the expansion, and each like monster had its own little cage in it. And I looked at it, I said, oh boy. And then the other part of me said, I want that.
Oh, geez.
wow.
Yeah, we probably should look at that.
No, we're not buying a crate. Hold on to your seatbelt, Christian.
So one of the things that probably drew Angela to this game the most was like the stories that it tells. It was the first maybe like narrative game that we had experienced. So Angela, or why don't we start with Seth and Jessie, with you guys who, or Seth for sure with RPGs. How immersive do you think this game is? Like, are you in it? Do you feel like you're doing the things you're supposed to be doing as that character, or is it just kind of not working for you?
So with the group that we first played with, like they're an improv group. All you have to do is give them a plot twist and they'll go talk for half an hour. And they
Okay.
flipped over the back of their character cards, and each character, for those of you that haven't played the game, each character has some little cool narrative backstory of why
Yes.
they're here and what there are. And like I watched all three of the guys at the table read them, and then they all look up and just like smiled at each other. It's like, you've just given these guys 4 hours of content to build on, and they were hooked. And of course, the app has the background music and everything. So I mean, we fell into it. We fell headfirst into it.
That's great.
I love the background music.
So much susurrus.
Well, that's not the music.
Oh.
That's the word that keeps repeating.
Yes.
Christian makes fun of the susurrus.
Yeah.
Jesse, what about you?
Yeah, so I really thought it did a really great job. You know, all these characters are different and they all have like one extra special power. And from your advice, I really hammered into the group multiple times like, dude, you got to play your power because that's what your strength is. So like I'm looking at Agatha Crane right now. Her strength is actually 2. So you don't want her going to go beat up something. You want her to go solve a puzzle.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, go read books, Agatha.
Isn't her will like
Yeah, it's really hard. So you know, she's not gonna go insane, but you know, and it was just really great to play that character and then play him off of each other and really kind of work together on trying to beat the game. Which the game has been more successful than us, unfortunately, on
The
our
game
side.
the game has won?
Those mythos events will get you sometimes.
Oh, it's the horror
It's-
checks, right? Like,
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's like, oh,
You do, yeah. You have to check horror. It's like it's kind of getting like hit twice if you think
It
about it
really
like
is.
that.
Sometimes on our podcast we play, or we do a section with what we got wrong. We call it "We Are Silly." And one of the things that we got really wrong on Mansions of Madness on the first go of it is how range works for those checks. And we were making checks all over the board. Like if there was a monster on the board, all of a sudden we were scared
Oh,
of
yeah.
everything. And we got to the end of that game, we're like, this game is hard.
It's impossible.
And
Yeah.
then we read the Board Game Geek, because I was like, oh yeah, we did that wrong, bad.
Like
Yeah.
2 spaces or
Or like behind a door.
behind a door. You're not scared of what's behind the door. Well, you might
Right.
be, but
Yes, you can barricade doors and yeah.
So we put a big asterisk on the first game.
I still won.
Yes. Take it, Jesse. Take it.
that's
Take
right.
one.
In a cooperative game, you won, which is very not cooperative.
Exactly.
So it's a little bit
It's kind of went a little nutty.
semi. You've been seeing all the horrors and hearing all the susurrus. So you
Yeah,
just
that's
went
right.
insane.
So
Exactly.
how about you guys? Do you
All
like
right.
do you guys like the immersion? Are you guys Lovecraftian fans outside of this game, or do you like that?
I know where you're going. I think this game and these style of games, like the Eldritch Horror and even the Arkham Horror card game, which came after this, made us even more interested in what's going on in this 1920s weirdness.
Yes.
I don't think we knew anything about it beforehand. So
But since you bought the book.
Oh yeah, Lovecraft Country,
Yep, and then we watched.
the show.
Yeah, then we got distracted and didn't watch it anymore. But
I finished it.
oh, you did.
Yeah, and it was great.
Okay.
I thought it was really good. So like that whole like it's like spooky, but not like slasher.
Yes.
And it's not everyone, people die, but not everyone is getting stabbed and blood everywhere. So
It's not your typical chainsaw Texas. Like what is it? The Chainsaw Massacre.
yeah, but I think you fell for it pretty hard too. Just
Absolutely.
yeah, it's
From the opening, like music, and then having
The
that
narrator.
British guy read the setup, it's just like, oh, I'm in. I feel like we are in this house, and the tiles. Yeah, I think if there weren't physical tiles and you were just watching them on the app, because it does show them on the app, that would take away something for me.
yeah. I mean, then it'd be a video game at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, which they do have. They have a video game set in this exact thing.
Oh.
Yeah, you go around and you investigate
I like
mysteries.
the idea
Up.
that things can hurt you that you can't heal with health potions, and that's coming from a tabletop RPG guy. Like I like this idea that
Yeah.
that your characters aren't superhumans. Your characters aren't supposed to win. Most tabletop RPGs are kind of constructed in a way where the heroes win. The good guys always win.
Yep.
And the good guys
Yeah.
win because they can take a lot of damage and they can heal with hearts and but in this setting, and I think what Mansions does a really good job is it causes anxiety. It causes some fear. You don't feel capable to take on some of the things that that the mansion throws at you. There's times where the door gets kicked open and you look around the table and be like, we can't take that. Like we
Yeah.
can't solve
Run.
this with punches. Yes, run. And that's a
Run.
really that's a really cool experience. Like it actually invokes feelings of fear.
Yeah, I think one thing that was really fun in one of our first playthroughs was that first scenario. Like, we made it so far, but maybe we stayed around too long that the ancient one, the giant squid looking mini that it comes with, showed up and was like destroying everything in its path. And we're like, oh my gosh,
Yes.
we are dead.
And in one of the expansion ones, I remember like the opening scene is that you're in the lobby, place your investigators, okay, and then you hear noise coming from behind the door. And it's like, well, yeah, let's go deal with the noise. It's probably someone we need to save. Wrong move.
Yep.
Uh,
Cultists
Yeah,
or like whatever.
It was a huge like serpent thing.
Yeah.
And it was like, all right, let's pretend we didn't do that.
Yeah, it was just really cool. Like, it presents you with so many like options to do. It's like, well, do I want to open the door where they're scratching on it to investigate, or do I want to escape through this side window and get out of here? Because all I really have is a pocket watch because I'm a 1920s gentleman.
Yep.
I have never had a game invoke the same kind of feelings that Mansions have before. I mean, outside of like a tabletop RPG, like even some of the other dungeon crawlers and stuff I've played on tabletops or that are considered board games, like even Gloomhaven. Mansions has a unique spot for the things that makes me fear and feel like.
Yeah, I love it. Maybe you already covered this in what we said, but along these lines, is it fun? Did you have fun? Now you lost with an asterisk. Jessie won, but was it still fun?
Oh yeah, it was completely fun, and during the whole game, Seth was smiling and giddy, and it's like, this is so fun, this is so exciting. I mean, he was just,
Hey, there's some things that happen in the game room that stay in the game room, okay?
I mean, he was just so giddy, and I was just like, it's a good game, relax, man. I mean, this is the first playthrough, but he just couldn't contain his excitement, and because of that, and I really enjoyed it. I have made him play it with me. We've played it with friends. We've played it multiple times since we've gotten it. And we haven't even had it a month now, but we're a little obsessed. We have, like Seth said, expansions are coming. We're excited.
So I think, well, we talk about fun and is it worth it? In my head, they're kind of like interchanged at times.
Yeah.
So like, obviously it's worth it to you guys. I'm just curious, what expansions have you guys ordered?
So we've got the Streets of Arkham coming. That's on its way. That had got back at Miniature Market down in St. Louis. We ordered that one. Our local board game shop didn't have anything but dice, so we got a couple extra of the never have anything on their faces dice,
Yes,
as I call them.
the blank dice that you always
the
roll.
blank
Yes.
the blank dice. And then we've got another one from we ordered it at the con we were down at, and I forgot which one that was. It was the spooky trains or
Oh yeah,
did
we
you
get the spooky
horrific
train?
journey.
horrific journeys. Yeah,
That's
that's a lot better name than spooky train.
Well, it could have been that. That's that.
But we haven't got any of them yet.
Okay.
No, I feel like the fun just doesn't stop with this game. Like the replayability, it's one of the most replayable games we have.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna have a different experience even if you play the same scenario.
Yeah. The layouts change every time.
Yep. And the people around the table change. And then you have all these expansions. I think we counted 6 plus some ones you can buy on the app.
Well, they have
right?
DLC only expansions, which
Okay.
you download whether you're playing it using Steam or iOS for the app. You can download new scenarios, which is great, and then they have little packs that also help you make the transition from version 1 to version 2. So if you play the original, you can kind of like upgrade your stuff to make it compatible with second edition.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
We didn't even talk about version 1. Have you guys even picked up a copy of version 1, or have you played or even talked to
No.
anyone that's
No, I
played
think we
edition 1?
talked about it in the sense that it didn't have the app yet. And
Yeah.
so when we first got Imperial Assault,
Yes.
right?
It's that.
It's that, but like no app.
Yeah.
So I was like, wow, this is tedious.
Yeah. I can't imagine being a mansion player, like being the bad guys and trying to just keep it all tracked in my
Yeah.
head on like where the bad guys are, who's going to spawn when they
Mhm.
go through that door, what's under that. Like I can't do that at all.
Is the fire extinguished? No.
It's like I don't know.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I love that you can go back in the log. We've used that so many times before in this game. You can see every command in the app.
Yeah.
Well, I GM a lot of games, and when we got to play the app, like I really appreciated it. I clicked through it, and I was like, I see what somebody's not having to do. Like that is
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
nice to not do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
I talked with my players around the table too, and we kind of talked about it. We said, because they GM as well too, and they said, "Would you like to be the keeper? Would you play Mansions of Madness if you had to be the keeper?" And the consensus was no, for exactly the reasons you guys said. Like, there's a lot to keep up with. There's a lot of story to ruin, but this game, as opposed to maybe some other tabletop RPGs, it feels like the keeper of the game itself is more adversarial. Like it wants to kill the players
Yes.
more actively than other tabletop role playing games.
Yes.
So it could become a really kind of cruddy 4-hour night where you don't make friends with everybody because you're playing the keeper right, and that takes the life out of the room. So that everybody got to play with the app was so good when we played it.
Mhm.
Yeah, now excuse me, that was my experience with the Imperial Salt. That's the only thing I have to compare it to. I was like, well, I'll be the Imperials, fine. And then like it was just overwhelming as the rebel player for Angela to all of a sudden have like 18 stormtroopers in front of them.
What was what was the most interesting thing is that when Jesse and I talked about playing this, that was the thing that we were collectively the most skeptical about. Like that was the thing that was holding us back. We're like, do we want to play a app game? Do we want to play a board game? Why don't we just go play something? And that was the biggest thing that was kind of the and it turned around when we played it, and it's probably one of the most redeeming qualities of the game.
This one definitely took the app and board game and made it really cohesive and a beautiful game.
Yeah, that's great. I think for all of us on the show today, it's definitely a game that has been worth it. We have many expansions for this. I think we have 4 of them. One of them we haven't even opened.
I know.
It was gifted to us, and we just haven't got Mansions back to the table. So now we're like, we need to bust this one open. And it's like the serpent jungly one.
Yes.
Which we're really excited for. I'm excited for you guys to play the Horrific Journeys one. I believe that's the one with the train, right? And so like literally the layout for the train is just what you would think of it. It's just a huge long line of those longer pieces from the game, and it's like 8 of them in a row, and it's like, well, my table's not long enough for this.
We had to rearrange a few things for that one. Yes.
And there's a boat, there's a Zephyr, like there's just so many cool places that the game takes you that I feel that no other game does.
Uh-huh. Agreed. Well, maybe we'll come back and talk about some conversations that came up while we were sitting around and playing this game.
Yes.
This episode is sponsored by Showit. Are you stuck in a boring website template? Maybe you don't even know where to start. Experience the true creative freedom with the drag and drop simplicity of a Showit website. Our website, marriedandboard.com, is a Showit website, and we love how simple it is to create. Get started for free at showit.co. You won't be disappointed.
All right. Well, thanks, Seth and Jessie, for chatting about one of our favorite games, Mansions of Madness.
Yes.
I have a feeling it might become one of your guys's as well.
Yep.
Maybe.
Yep. That's an easy yep.
There was crickets for a second. Yeah.
I was just trying to decide why we didn't already tell you it was one of our favorites.
That's fair.
That was the thought process. Like, I think it's already there.
Well, yeah, sometimes it just takes a while for a game to like simmer, and then once you play it a few times, you're like, "Yep, this is it." But
Yes.
one thing that I wanted to chat about at the end of the show, we usually like to just chat about thoughts and ideas that popped up while we played the game, or early on in the show, is like, how does this help our marriage, or what have we learned about each other?
Yes.
But you guys all learned tonight that I hate tiny cards.
Yes.
And they are just one of my gaming pet peeves. So I thought I would open that up to everybody. And why don't we just kind of go around the horn here? Why don't we start with Seth, and just if there's a gaming pet peeve that that bugs you, whether it's tiny cards like me, no organization in a Mansions of Madness box. Like, do you guys
I
have
think
anything?
Jesse's going to
like
take
that?
one that we both think of. So I'm going to say one that bugs me. I'm usually the rules learner and teacher at the house. Poorly written manuals drive me bananas. Or manuals with like errors where you have to go look up online. They're like, oh, on page 17, we actually meant that you moved 3 spaces. Like, that just drives me
It's like, that's a huge
nuts.
deal.
Now, we don't like to be divisive here, but can you name one?
Yeah, what's one that bugs
I
you?
just played one the other.
Can you
I
remember?
was just have one downstairs that we played the other day that I had to read like 6 times, and I was like, I
It
don't
was
get
Campy
this.
Creatures.
Well, Campy Creatures was weak.
Yes,
It
weak.
wasn't clerically wrong, but it
Yeah.
was a weak instruction book. The other one is New York Zoo by Hugh Rosenberg. Like, that's a cool game.
We have
That's a
that
cool
game.
game, but the instructions
Yeah.
just like, you are making this way harder than it needs to be. Like, you could really make these
Right.
more concise. So
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I actually had never thought about that, but when we first opened that game, our kids, we like, this is a game we can all play together. We're just going to learn it together. And then after 10 minutes, we were like, why don't you guys go and do something else while mom and dad try to figure out what we're doing, and then we'll teach
and it's
you.
not that complicated. Just it seems unnecessarily
No.
difficult in the instruction manual.
Yeah.
Agreed.
That's a good one. I mean, some come to our mind. I mean, when we first got Root, I think Root was very hard to learn from the manual. They have gotten better, and we have gotten used to it, I think,
Yes.
also. That one comes to mind. I don't know if one comes to mind for you, Angela.
That was the hardest one for me because I was so used to the Fantasy Flight idea of learn to play and then a rules reference.
Yeah, they do well there.
So I would always be the learn to play book, and then Christian would always have the rules reference. And so we just split it up. It was like our sweet comfort zone. And
I forgot that we did that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But now, I don't think I can say like that the root rule book is bad because I've experienced so many other games that aren't Fantasy Flight.
Yeah.
You know what? A rule book was a little intimidating for me. I can't say that it was poorly done, but just intimidating was Arc Nova until I got the hang of it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that one doesn't do
I've
very well.
I've seen that game on Instagram, and the pictures of it scare me. So I'll have to watch out to play on that one.
I think it's actually very mechanically very simple.
It's a lot simpler than it looks. Angela forced me to go to an Arc Nova event at Gen Con because she had been so interested in this one. And I was just like, oh, yeah, this is way easier than I thought it was going to be. So maybe maybe it's an online experience to try first if it ever comes to that. But
Yeah.
it's definitely worth playing at least once.
Well, I'll serve the same question back. What is your pet peeve when it comes to games?
I feel like the box organization has become more and more important to me because I've seen either companies that can help you organize your box better, and now it's hard to go back to just like, oh, we throw everything in the box. Which reminds me, like, I saw this Pinterest thing about a mom who was like, do what we did and throw away all your game boxes and like put them in Ziplocs. And I was like, no.
That is crazy.
I died a little
Don't-
bit.
don't
I a
do
little
that.
bit died.
I know.
Seriously.
I know. And it's like, okay, I get that it's for the non-gamer and you're talking about like Guess Who and Battleship.
Well, I did have the same reaction of that when you decided to throw away. This was a while ago. Our DVD cases.
I know you did. That was hard for you.
It was. So I feel that.
I know. It's time to go. It's time
Okay.
for-
I still miss them.
Okay. That's probably taken the cake for my gaming pet peeve.
That's a good one. How about you, Jesse?
All right, so I do actually have two. Not to be picky or anything.
No, I thought of another, so I'm gonna finish with my last one.
My first one is I love a good player aid card. Like just
Ooh,
next to
yeah.
it to just the short rules so I understand. And I think did you get these off of
Yeah, I actually went to Board Game Geek and printed off the number 2 downloaded PDF for Mansions, which was a player aid card, and that is my knock on Mansions. Is like you
Yeah.
have 10 things you can do. We should at least have a little card in front of you that helps you.
and it has
Yes.
helped us so much because we could just be like, oh yeah, look, you can just trade or you can barricade. You can do that's one of your actions. And I just love a good player aid card.
Yeah, that is great. I
That's
feel
a
like
great-
we just played a game and I can't remember what it was that didn't have this. And I was like,
Yeah, what was-
why? Why do you not have this? I don't want to open up to page 17 in the rule book and look at my options. Just give me a card.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, every time it's annoying.
Yeah, I feel that.
And then my number 2 thing is the option, I guess, when you're buying a game to have painted minis. Like,
Okay.
mansions, you have all these minis, and I get it. It's an art, and people maybe can take time and get down to painting. And I think that's amazing, wonderful, beautiful, and you do that. However, if it could come painted, I just feel like it would have been a more beautiful game to me.
How much would you pay for painted minis? Like,
Oh, I
Great
don't know what.
question.
That's a great question.
You know, I'd have to do research because obviously it takes time, and I don't want to be like lowball somebody be like $10. But but I also am not going to be like, hey, $500. That sounds like a good price. Then I'll be like, look, I got to get paint set, Seth, and I need a magnifying glass so I can paint it really nice.
we painted our Gloomhaven minis for $20 a pop. We got a contract each.
Oh wow.
like each one was $20.
Yep, each one was $20.
Okay.
But they
All right.
were fantastic. Like
Right.
this was
So how did-
not a $5 online. This was straight up
No.
awesome.
I was just gonna. So I want to ask that because I'm curious because I am a very 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 amateur painter. How did it work? Did you have to like mail them to them, or is it a local guy that you just dropped them off? Or
It was a local person that we met at the game store. Her hobby, her business is arts and crafts, and she put up a poster there and
nice.
said, "I will paint minis." And we're like, "Oh, sweet!" So it was a high school girl that was her side gig was to paint minis,
wow.
and I was like, "That's a
That is
really good
such-
idea."
That's such a good side hustle.
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna start training our
I
9-year-old.
I need to start doing this
Yeah.
because I don't want to keep doing what I'm doing now.
Yeah. Make some money from mama. Yes.
That's great. I mean, it is I think becoming a little bit more common, especially like in the Kickstarter world, where you have the option to like do whether it's not fully painted mini or they'll do what's called like a sun drop, where they're just like have like the contrast paints and you get all the like nice detail in the crevices and stuff like that. So I feel like it's coming, but you know, I don't paint enough for us to be able to play a full game with painted things.
Right.
But I can't imagine like how much it would change the experience.
Oh yeah, we've seen, painted minis in the case at our game store, and it's just so cool. Like miniatures from this game.
Right. Yeah. I just think it would elevate the game to a next level. It would
Oh
be
yeah,
amazing.
definitely. I mean, you paid for someone to paint. Do you paint at all, or were you just looking for like great results when you sent those in?
I never fall into things lightly, so if I was going to paint my own mini, I'd probably have to reserve like a corner of the garage, and it would get out of hand. So it was probably for the best of our marriage that I didn't take
Yeah.
up the painting hobby. So
However, he
Okay.
keeps sending me videos, hints, like I should take up the hobby. And I'm just like,
I do.
maybe, like, we already have like 3 kids, 2 dogs, everyone's in activities. Sure, I'll do that.
Yeah.
Well, whatever you do from experience, don't get a 3D printer because then
No.
you'd have an endless supply of minis
Mm.
like our house that you just
And
are way behind on painting.
Christian,
Yeah.
you've let the cat out of the bag here. As soon as she learns how to paint, I was going to get a 3D printer. I had to have I had to have put the
Yeah.
supply chain in order.
That's right.
yeah, no, he just was like, "Hey, what do you think about a 3D printer?" Okay, good. And then,
Done.
yeah. All right. Sounds good.
Hey,
Yeah.
it's been fun. I printed stuff for the kids and they painted it, so
And then they immediately
broke it.
broke it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's all good. All right. Well, I did think of another one, and this is just like a personal. Obviously, they're all personal, but like it's really another one that I thought of besides mini cards is like when you go to a game night or when you have people over for a game night. It's really important to me that whether if you're the host, that you know how to play the game
Yep.
that you're gonna play. Like, there's nothing worse than like going to a game night and it's like, all right, guys, let's open the manual.
No.
You know what I mean? And it's just like,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
let's not do that.
You need to know how to play.
It's important for me. Gaming is about the experience as a whole, not my personal one,
Yeah.
because I lose and I don't care, right? So if everyone else has a good time, then it's been a great night for me. And so like part of that is making sure that I know how to play this game so that everyone can just sit down and jump in easily.
Yes.
Have you guys had any experiences like that where you like, let's learn together, and it's like, come on, guys, let's just now we're playing Monopoly because we all know how to play.
The only time is like if we just bought a game and we have like some close friends that will be like,
Sure.
come on over, we're gonna open it right now. And then that's a little different because they're excited too.
Yes.
And then they do a quick read and we get snacks and whatever it might be. And when I say we, it's never me. Okay. I am not the rule reader at all.
She punches the cardboard.
That's probably why I like the player aid. Just give me a player aid.
Yeah, Jesse, you and I are the same. I love the cardboard, and I never read those books.
Nope, not at
so-
all. Please no.
We've got a very small group of friends that works with, but I agree with you, Christian. Like that is the right atmosphere, and I think it's okay if the friends are coming over knowing that that's what they're getting
Expectations,
into. You're like,
yeah.
hey, I just bought a game today, and we're gonna do this, and I'm like, sweet, I'll do that. But if they show up and then you drop that on them, and they're like, oh boy, that's not what I wanted to do tonight.
Right.
No.
Not at all. Not at all.
Oh man. Well, wrap it up with
Yeah, let's just transition to ending the show. We're going to end the show like we do every show and talk about what is bringing us joy outside of board games. But I do want to start with Angela. I always ask her what she's been reading lately.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that.
And so, like, and one book that you've been reading, Ange.
Okay. I'm listening to The It Girl by Ruth Ware.
Okay.
It's like a suspense. And then I am physically reading, what's it called? The Home for Unfit Mothers or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's what it's called.
All right.
I probably butchered it.
Well, I've never heard of either of those, so I'm sure they're great.
Yeah. Well,
Maybe.
they're keeping me entertained.
Okay.
Yeah.
So why don't we start with you guys, Seth and Jesse? What is bringing you joy outside of board games? If you can't think of anything, that's great. Or
That's great.
yeah, it's great.
Sad life.
I meant to say, that's fine. Maybe you could tell us if you are dressing up for Halloween. What are you dressing up for? Or
Ooh.
as?
Yes.
There you go.
Well, Halloween's right around Jessie's birthday, so
It is.
so that's a special time for her. But
Oh.
I will tell you what's bringing me joy is that it is hockey season, and we have kids that are in hockey. We have kids that love hockey. We have a community that bleeds hockey, and it is hockey season
That's
now.
great.
So that's bringing us a lot of joy.
Are you Wild fans or like
Yep.
who's the team?
Yeah,
over
we're
there?
Wild
We're
fans.
Wild
Yeah.
fans.
Okay.
Daughter plays, and we've got kids down the street that have the banners for the local club team. So it's fun. It's crisping in the air and everybody's sharpening their skates. So it is hockey season.
That's cool.
Nice.
That's just it makes me like miss living in Minnesota.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. For some reason, Arizona has a hockey team, and I got to go to a game a few years ago through my old work, and it was fun. I had a good time.
Are you dressing up, Seth?
Yeah.
No, I usually am the one that is holding all of the jackets as we go house to house because
you
in
go.
our area of the country it's either 70 degrees or 12, and I am the one that holds the backup jackets, the backup bags, the hats, the mittens, the gloves, and the camera. So I guess I am. I'm dressing up as a dad this year.
Yeah.
is my outfit.
It's
I'll
the
wear a
best
wild
costume.
shirt.
There you go.
Shirt. I'm a wild fan.
All
That's
right,
fun.
Jesse, how about you? Happy early birthday for Halloween.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Bringing you
am.
joy.
What's bringing me joy? Okay, so like this weekend, I am actually taking a girls' trip, and we're
Ooh.
we're camping in the hills and we're going hiking, and I am super excited to just kind of get away for a weekend and relax and have some fun with some friends. So I'm very excited. It's bringing me super fun joy.
Yeah, that's great.
That's amazing. What are you dressing up as? Anything?
I don't normally dress up. I have like ghost leggings and like I'm a hodgepodge of
Yeah.
I'm a mom.
Just
Running behind the children. You know, I always wanted to do like themed costumes, and my kids are totally not about it. They're like, no, we're gonna do our own thing. I could only do it when my girls were little, and I got
yeah.
Cinderella and a pumpkin, and then Elsa and Anna.
That's
and
it.
then
That's all we
after
got.
that, it was just they were their own people, and they're like, no,
Yeah.
So Jesse and I were doing a couple's costume, mom and dad.
yep, mom and dad.
Yeah.
No better costume.
That is truly. Oh, there's no better thing. Yes. What's bringing you joy, Christian?
Well, I've talked about Marvel Snap for the past like 14 episodes.
You
I
are
feel
not
like.
allowed to say that.
So I'm still playing this stupid game. I love it. You know, send me texts, whatever. I'll talk about it forever. So I'll just talk about what I'm wearing for Halloween.
Okay.
I'm with you guys. I don't usually enjoy dressing up for Halloween. It's not one of my favorite things. If I had like a legit cosplay costume, I think I would enjoy it more. But I also don't.
You don't want to drop $100.
or even more than that.
Yeah.
Like for these like
Mm-hmm.
and plus like I love Thor, but come on, I don't look like Thor. So I don't want to be like, you know, in Avengers Endgame there's Fat Thor. So
you don't want to
There is.
well, but I don't want to I want to dress up as like real Thor but not look like Fat Thor wearing a real Thor costume.
Got it.
So that's my hold up with dressing up.
Okay.
But my work where I work now, we do a Halloween party, and you have to dress up, or else you're shunned.
Very true.
Quite heavily. So I'm dressing up as Dennis Nedry from Jurassic Park. So
Yes.
That's awesome.
I got the rain jacket, the yellow rain jacket. I do have some some classic '60s looking glasses that I'll wear. I bought a Barbasol can that
Yeah.
opens up on the bottom, and I'm gonna put little green stuff inside it. Yeah, so that's what I'm going as.
Oh, that's super fun. Yeah, if you have some like Butterfinger wrappers in your
Oh,
pocket.
did he have candy
Oh,
bar? Candy bar?
Yeah.
That's right. They did a lot of product placement like with those. That's
Yeah.
right.
'cause
It was a
it's like-
Pepsi too, or
Okay,
Pepsi
that's
can or
good.
something on
That's
his
good.
desk.
Because I do have to print out a cool
'Cause you-
badge, so I can wear the badge. And I've got my patch. I'm ready to go, so I'll get some candies. I mean, I don't need excuse to eat candies, so like Halloween will help, right?
Well, Yeah, he gets yelled at and he's like, my park is in your hands and you have butterfingers.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
I'll
just
do that.
we've recently watched it because my son's obsessed with Jurassic.
Yeah.
All
I
the
can't
time.
wait until my son's
Old
old
school,
enough. Yeah.
new school.
Yeah.
I feel that for sure. How about you, Ange?
Um, yeah. Okay. What's bringing me joy? Well, I think, well, Christian convinced me not to talk about plants again because I think I've mentioned plants before. So, my thing that's bringing me joy right now is this is my first time doing fantasy basketball. So, Christian asked his coworkers if anyone wants to do a fantasy basketball league, basically for my benefit. and and then so I joined and I'm excited. I'm excited to draft some players to my team.
Yeah, Angela's a big basketball fan. You guys love hockey. Angela grew up playing basketball. You coached basketball, coached your high school basketball team after you went to the school. And
Yeah.
so it's
Wow.
been a big deal for you for a long time.
And then I am dressing up as a mom.
Yeah, you're being the mom too.
Yeah, I feel the same. I used to have this, I don't know, just like black, plain black dress, long sleeve that I used to just wear with a witch hat. And then during a closet purge, I think last year, I was like, why do I even have this anymore?
I'm so mad.
And I threw it, no, donated it or something. And then Halloween came around and I was like, that's why I had it. Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah. So, and I was like, no, I'm not going to go buy something for myself. And so then it just became like, oh, I'm just wearing the witch hat.
Yeah.
And
And that's
what it
probably
is.
what will happen. We have a young nephew too, so we'll be out with him, and so it's like someone's always chasing him.
Yeah.
So we have to keep
Yeah.
like if we have a costume on, it's just that much harder. So
Exactly.
Christian, the nice thing about your costume this year is that when you see it hanging in the closet with a can of Barbasol in the pocket of it, you're like, I remember that. You won't have the same problem that Angela did.
oh, yeah, it's like why did Christian buy this dumb yellow, rain jacket?
That's why.
That's why. Well, Seth and Jessie, thank you so much for being on the show today. We want to give you the chance to just tell everybody how they can get in contact with you, where they can find you on the internet, all that great stuff.
Awesome. And thank you for letting us come be part of the Mansions of Madness episode.
Absolutely. So fun.
Woohoo.
This is such a definitive episode of your guys' or definitive game of your guys' entire series, and we feel really privileged to be able to sit here and talk about it.
It's all downhill from here.
Hey, no. This is a new chapter.
That's right.
If anybody's looking to add to their podcast feed, you can find us until Dice Do Us Part on all of your favorite podcast app. As a quick plug, what we try to do is we try to stick to about 15 to 20 minute episodes. We really only pick about one show. Our intent is that you have some time while you're doing dishes and kids to school that you can tune in and catch up with us every fortnight, as I've been told. Every fortnight, just to do a quick little talk through about the games we love. So find it anywhere, and also you can find us over on Instagram. And if people email, the people still email at some point, it's until dicedouspart@icloud.com.
Perfect. So yeah, definitely reach out to them, put them in your feed. It's a great little like he said, it's a quick show. You get your board game fix, and you can move on. So it's
I
great.
know. It's like it's I love that the format is the kind of the opposite of ours. And so I feel like we talked about when we had our BGA night that we love getting responses from people.
Yeah.
And we all agreed. So reach out to Seth and Jessie. Reach out to us.
Give
We
them
love
those
talking
mansion
games.
strats. We all need those. We're not perfect.
Yeah.
How about us, Angela? You want to run us down?
Yes. Okay. Well, you can find us on Instagram at Married and Bored. You can email us, hello@marriedandbored.com. You can go to our website, fill out the form. It's marriedandbored.com. And Christian has established our Twitter.
I don't know.
What's the count? What are we up to, Christian?
Like 36 followers.
Look at us.
Yep.
I remember when it was like 12. So
That was last week.
we are at Married Bored
Yep.
on Twitter.
That's true. All right. Any last closing words, Seth and Jesse, before we say goodbye?
No, again, thanks
No.
for having us on.
Yeah,
and
absolutely. It was super fun.
let's do another game on BGA
Yeah.
sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to do it.
Yes.
We appreciate the time, and we'll see everyone next episode.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Married and Bored podcast. And guess what? We have a website where you can listen to podcast episodes and so much more. Find us at marriedandbored.com, or you can email us at hello@marriedandbored.com, or follow us on Instagram at marriedandbored. Music in this episode is by Joseph McDade. See you next time. Oh my goodness.
Can you guys hear that now recording?
Yes, it's very
Okay.
aggressive,
terrifying.
but exciting. That's scared. I'm excited.
Scary bear.
Yeah, I didn't have nerves, but now I do.